Good morning, everybody. It's your boy D Max. Let's talk. All right. So, as we talk more and more about Afghanistan and what's going on in Afghanistan, we're talking about the we're talking about the Taliban. So, who are the Taliban? Because a lot of people they have this one-sided view of the Taliban, which I had for a long time until I did my due diligence and studied up on the Taliban to see exactly who they were and why there's so much resistance against the Taliban. And what I came to find out about the Taliban was something that was pretty eye-opening to me. And I'll get into that in a little bit. But right now, what I want to address is this. Something I noticed in the narrative about the Taliban taking over is the whole woman empowerment movement. And I believe that this is being exploited by the media in order to further demonize the Taliban, because this is what America wants. America wants the Taliban to have a bad reputation and a bad image in the eye of the world. We've always pushed that. Well, we've pushed that ever since they would not allow us to come in and take Osama bin Laden without proper proof that he was the one who caused 9/11. This is where the demonization and the attack on Afghanistan, or not actually Afghanistan, but the Taliban came. Because the Taliban was funded by the CIA during the 80s when they were fighting against the Soviet Union to get them out of Afghanistan. So the Taliban is very well known by the United States, particularly the CIA, who funded their war against the Soviet Union, like I stated. So these Taliban fighters have been around for a long time. They fought for the country of Afghanistan. They've been a force there to protect the people of Afghanistan, and they fought against governments that they feel were not in the best interest of the people and were backed by other foreign entities such as ourselves. And, they're trying to bring their country back under their own law. So, that backdrop, I'm going to say this. Going back to the whole woman empowerment issue, this is the thing that they're using against the Taliban to try to get Americans on board. Because remember, America, especially our military forces, always have to get the people on board whenever they desire to go into a conflict, because they know they're going to have to draw their resources from the economic value of the people, or the economics of the United States. And so in order to get the U.S. citizens behind something, we see how our country have set off false flag operations to get us angry enough, to stir our emotions enough for us to, okay them going into battle against these people that they've demonized. And so I feel, this is an I feel statement, because this is what I feel. I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but I feel as though they are using this, the women not going back to school and the women not being able to do this and that, and the women being restricted, as their reasoning for not wanting to support the Taliban. But they don't do any of this concerning any other countries. Yeonmi Parks is a North Korean defector who escaped North Korea, and she made her way to the United States by way of going through China and suffering some of the unimaginable things. But no one's lifting a finger to help there. No, so there's that selective outrage that America has towards certain situations. The women in North Korea are being treated like an object, a total object, and no one is saying absolutely anything about it. But yet we have Afghanistan, and we have a people who are trying to get foreign entities out of their government and bring and establish their country as the Islamic area that it is, and bring some sense of decency and normalcy back to their country based on their laws and their religious beliefs. This is what the Taliban are doing. So when you have these people who have been at one time loved by the people and backed by the people because they were fighting against the Soviet Union, and then after they won that, and it seems like, they were no longer of use because the people got what they really wanted, and that was out from under Soviet rule. They got complacent, I guess. I don't know, if I feel like this, man. If I fought for my country and fought for its freedom and got our oppressors out of the country, and the country turned on me, man, I would feel some type of way, man. I really would feel some type of way. And if you don't want to live by the religious beliefs or the Islamic beliefs because you want to live a westernized life and you don't want to live under the customs of your culture, then you should leave that culture. Don't try to force your culture to change to accommodate what you want based on outside influences. That's wrong. That's very wrong. So I feel like whatever Sharia law is and whatever it states, you can equate that to Christianity in the United States, or whatever your religious belief is or your spiritual belief is. So what if someone came into your home and told all the women in your home, you don't have to follow what they say. You don't have to follow what he says. He's not your daddy. He's not your God. But this is what our God requires of us, what we have been teaching. And someone comes in and say, you don't have to do what your God say. You do what you want to do. What make you feel good? Because we don't believe in your God, so you don't have to believe in your God, and you do what we do over here. That's what America is saying to these women in this country, and I don't feel that this is America's place to tell another country how to observe their religion and their culture. Their religion and their culture has been around just as long as ours, if not longer. And who are we to go over here and tell these people how to observe their religion and how to live their culture? America's become a whore, a prostitute. Everybody and anybody can come over here and jump on board and do whatever in America, and there's no standard being held, and there's no accountability, because America is just a big melting pot of anybody who wants to do whatever. And we see what the results of that are turning out to be. America is imploding because of this way that we are. The whore of Babylon. So now we want to go out to the rest of the countries, and now I'm starting to understand where it says that nations are drunk off the wine of her abominations. It says that in Revelations. The nation is drunk off the wine of her abominations. Her abominations are what? Challenging the laws of their God. Challenging the laws of their culture. This is something that is monumental. This is a spiritual warfare thing. This is not what we're seeing with our eyes. What we're seeing with our eyes in the narrative that's being painted by our media, is totally not what's going on. This is an entire spiritual war, and we are on the losing side of that war for the simple fact that we're trying to get people to go against their God, go against their belief, go against their religion, and do what we think is right, what we think they should be doing. Do you see where I'm going? Do you see the mind state of us? When I say us, I'm talking about the U.S. It's something that we definitely need to keep our mind open to. Um, I definitely would love to see women have the equal rights and everything else that is deserved by a human being, period. But I'm not going to try to supersede or trump somebody's whole entire belief system and their whole entire culture to try to impress my views on them and start something in their household. They don't come in our household mixing up stuff and stirring up stuff. So why are we going into theirs trying to push our views and our religious beliefs on them? It's wrong. It's wrong on all ends, and I don't care what you have to say about it. And they're using the whole women empowerment thing that America is on right now. And I say that, I don't say that in a disrespectful manner, but America is on a women empowerment kick right now. This is the wave, bashing men and calling everything toxic masculinity is the end thing right now, and uplifting women and femininity over everything seems to be the wave in the United States right now. It's very obvious, and we're not gonna dance around that. So when they're using this, because this is the only talking point that keeps coming out about the Taliban. Every report that you hear from Al Jazeera all the way down to Fox News, notice I say down to, but all the way down to Fox News, you hear the same talking point. The women are not going to get this. The women aren't going to go to school. The women aren't going to do that. Well, there are other issues besides that, but nothing else is being brought up other than the treatment of women and the liberation of women. And that's that same banner that's flying over here right now. Women liberation. The uplifting of femininity. And there's nothing wrong with that, but there's everything has its time and its place. And we can't use our talking points and our issues over here to try to justify doing something over there. So we're not going to sit here and demonize these Taliban fighters, these people who fought for their country for years, thanklessly. And then when they come in and try to establish the foundation of their beliefs, the people who have been westernized don't want to follow their true culture. They want to be more like the West. They want to be like the other nations. And so they'll latch on to somebody who supports them doing what they want to do, as opposed to what their law and what their belief system requires of them. We're interfering with people's belief systems and what's required of them. So we should feel the same way about someone who comes over here and tells us that we don't have to listen to God, which we do. We allow people to come and do stuff like that all the time. So America is desensitized to that. But don't try to make everybody else be like you. If you want to be a harlot, you go out and be a harlot on your own. You don't drag other people out to partake in your harlotry. You do that on your own. That's the way I always was. Any dirt that I ever did in the streets, I did it on my own. I ain't take nobody with me because I ain't want nobody getting in trouble for something that I made a decision to do. It's all on me. So America, take note on that, man. This is your boy D-Mac. Y'all know what I always say. Sticks and stones can break your bones, but the word I always hear you. I'm out.